Hi, hello, and welcome to another episode from, of course,
China.
my name is Fernando, and this is
Ziv.
and today we are with Jason Polanco Komit. Okay, we're gonna get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, cool. Well, Jason Komit, we're gonna get to that. Okay, it's born in Dominican Republic, right? And grew up in New York in Brooklyn, was it?
The Bronx.
The Bronx. Sorry, the Bronx. And he's been living in China since 2013. He has a dance studio, a bar, and has some experience working with visas for foreigners here in China. So a lot of cloth to cut from. So why don't you give us a why don't you give us a little introduction? Say hello to the audience and the listeners.
Hey, man, I'm always bad at introducing myself. I think Fernando did a perfect job introducing me. I'm just a simple guy, though, outside of all those things.
All right, so we said today we are with Komit, with Jason.
Let's start there.
Let's start with that. Yeah.
What is your name?
How do you know him? Because I know him as Jason.
I think I use both Jason and Comet to refer to you. To your face, I will always say Jason, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But with some people, I say Comet because it's your widget name.
Yeah.
And I think maybe they don't know
Yeah.
that your name is Jason. They'll be like, who?
Who's that? Yeah.
So, tell us what's with that Comet name.
Yeah. It's just a matter of like the formalities, right? So like Jason is my actual name. Well, I changed my name to Jason legally. And so Jason is my legal name. And so if you know me from work or if we do business at any capacity, then you will know me as Jason. However, if you know me as like a personality, if you know me from modeling, from dance or anything like that, then you will know me as Komit. Usually.
Okay, so it's like stage name.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of speak. And
It's like a persona, I would say.
when I first met you and somebody said Komit, I don't know why in my head it rang as Kermit. But I was like, no, it's not Kermit. So what does that mean, that name? Or, I mean...
So Komit, it actually comes from komitis. And komitis is Greek for shooting star. But if it's literally translated, it'd be long-haired star.
Like a comet.
Yeah, so back in the day, maybe not that long ago, maybe 3 years ago before the dance studio, I had very long hair.
You still have a long hair, just not a lot of it, right?
Yeah, it's just short in the front and long in the back,
Yeah.
like a mullet.
Right.
You know, that
For
kind of thing.
aerodynamics.
Oh, yeah, exactly. For aerodynamics, absolutely. And so, yeah, I had some friends, and they're like, "Oh man, you should definitely call you this. This definitely is a good name for you."
I would say that it's a good way to be remembered. I think
so too.
people can remember Comet more than Jason.
Everybody's
You know?
Jason.
Well, but
Yes.
if you
Yes.
go to YouTube, okay, this is on YouTube. This is our YouTube channel, of course, China. But he's got a YouTube channel. What name do you go by over there?
Jason Chimera.
And then Chimera.
So Chimera is just a spin off the Chimera.
Yeah.
And the Chimera is a beast of different animals fused together.
Right.
So the Chimera, also courtesy of my friends, was brought into the mix because there's like, oh, like you're a guy of many talents or multiple talents at the time. And it's like, so if I were to give you a name, it would be Chimera for like your last name. I'd be like, that sounds cool. Let's put a K on it, make it look dope.
But also on Facebook, you are Jason Chen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And still on the names.
That would be my actual name now. That would be my actual name at this
Jason
point.
Chen.
Yeah, Jason Chen.
So what's with Chen? That's a Chinese name.
Yeah, it is.
C-H-E-N.
You didn't know? You didn't know I'm Chinese?
C-H-E-N or
Yeah,
E-N-G?
C-H-E-N. Yeah, actually, that's my wife's last name.
Chen.
So when we got married, I actually decided to take on my wife's last name.
Right.
Not the other way around.
Yeah, not the other way around. I'm very
Okay.
anti-tradition.
And not both.
Yeah,
Just
not
taking her
both.
name. What did she say
Yes.
about that?
Oh, she thought it was cool. She's like, really? Oh, that's awesome. And I was like, yeah, no problem.
Right. I have a cousin in Switzerland, and he very, very liberal people, and you know, he took her name, she took his name, so it's they both have both names.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That's equality.
So you've actually gone through the process of registering your name, like
Yes.
with the embassy or consulate?
No, first we have to go through the I don't know what the formal name is, but basically the like City Hall in New York City, and actually go through the marriage license
You
process.
guys married over there or over here?
Yeah, we married both places.
Both
in
places.
China first. And then City Hall is where you actually write, okay, so which is your name from this point, and they will put it on your marriage certificate. Yeah, so the reason for that, though, is that I see it as, what is a last name to you guys? What does that mean?
But to me, it's just kind of like part of your family tree,
Right.
like to
Yeah,
where you
right.
come from.
Right.
Belonging.
Right, exactly. So for me, the last name that I was carrying does not, in my opinion, I love my family, right?
Yeah.
And I really have a lot of respect for my family. But unfortunately, due to the circumstances, that last name does not represent me.
Okay.
And that family also is not responsible for like my upbringing and who I am today. So that's a part of the reason why I decided to change my name. I honestly feel that more has been done for me here by my Chinese family than has been done in New York City.
I had a similar experience when I was a kid. I was really upset at my dad, so I decided to call myself following my mom's last name.
Oh,
So everybody
Oh,
at school
boy.
was like, "Deet, deet, deet, counselor."
right. Oh boy, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was Fernando Bernal for a couple of months.
So you can. I mean, I saw that. I've seen this before. The name somewhere, like on your Facebook or.
Oh, no. The thing is that when you have a name in Spanish, right, we get both last names. You get your
you do.
father's last name and your mother's last name. So I am Fernando Muñoz Bernal.
So you do have
And-
both names.
Yes, but I dropped my dad's at that time.
Ah, so that's common though to have both names. Okay.
It is the norm.
All right. I didn't know that.
Kind of like the norm.
So like in I guess in the US you can go to City Hall and change your name to Donald Duck if you want, whatever, right?
Yeah, if you want to, you can.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
there's no issues with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain like guidelines you have to follow. Nothing too complicated, but yeah,
It's
you
easier than changing your page name on Facebook.
Yeah,
should. Probably.
Or
you
your
know what?
YouTube
Probably
channel.
is. It probably is.
Yes, for sure, right?
Tell you the truth.
All right, so tell us a little bit about growing up in New York. What was it like?
Wow, that's a loaded one. I don't even
Just
know where
anything you want to
start.
share with us.
I don't know. I think it was amazing. Tell you the truth. There's a lot of fond memories, a lot of interesting stuff. Like when kids used to go outside to play and scrape their knees and get bumps. It was
Without helmets.
Yeah, without helmets, riding bikes and that.
So that's like
kind of stuff.
90s. Right?
Yeah. I grew up in
okay.
the 90s in
Right.
New York City, in the South Bronx, the
Right.
safest place in the world. You go on the slides in the park, and then you see needles on the ground, like it's normal stuff,
Be
day-to-day
careful.
stuff.
It's New York.
Little
I mean,
packets
not just the
of
Bronx, I
white
guess.
dust. Anyway, but yeah, that's what growing up in New York City was like. We didn't pay attention to those things. We're kids. We actually don't know what it is. So it was like
Right.
whatever. But it was. I think it was wild, man. I really think it was wild. Even like, I'm thinking back to like when I was like 6 or 7 and 8 years old, and like being exposed to the things that I was exposed to at that time. I didn't understand like how serious the situation was until now.
Like,
Where it's
what
like-
kind of situations you mean?
Oh, like finding syringes in the park and
Okay.
like little packets of Coke and all over the place, like in a kid's park.
Right.
That was a thing. And shootings were like, oh, someone's shooting. Hold on.
Right.
Did they finish? They finished? All right, cool, let's go.
Let's go play.
Street language was Spanish or English?
I'm mostly English, but we use both.
Okay.
Definitely use both. But more Spanish in
You
the
know they
household.
say in New York, what's New York's second language?
I think it's Spanish.
English.
Oh,
Yes.
That's what they say also in Miami.
Okay.
Down
Yeah.
in Florida.
Yeah.
All right.
makes sense.
Tell us a little bit about what you did, I don't know, after school in New York, stuff like that. What did you work on? Because you mentioned modeling, you mentioned, so
What kind of
was
TV?
What age are we talking about? Like,
we're talking after high school or?
oh, okay. What didn't I do, man? I think that would be a shorter list. I did everything.
Right. You said before that you did some modeling, right?
Yes.
And TV.
Yeah, yeah.
In New York.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was pretty dope, but it also put me on to really understanding the problem with the entertainment industry, I would say. I got into modeling because I was working at Levi Strauss, and a lot of the times customers would come in, they always say, oh, hey, are you a model here? They wouldn't want to actually ask me to help them with anything because I thought I was just
Shops have
posing.
models?
Yeah, shops have models, of course.
Okay.
Like, especially if you go to, what is it called? What is it called?
I don't know. I thought they would have a mannequin or
Like,
something.
no. They
Marks
use
and
models.
Spencer? No.
Yeah. Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
So they have models
Hollister.
there.
Tommy Hilfiger. or all those.
They literally, they pay people to stand there with their clothes and like
Calvin Klein. Yeah.
You walk by, they go, "Hey, what's up?" And you're like, "Hi." I remember I went to one of their shops. And I was like, "Hey, I'm looking for these jeans," and they're like, "Oh, sorry, I don't know." And I was like,
just
"You work
stand
here?"
here.
They're like, "Oh, no, I just model." Oh, okay. So a lot of customers were under the impression that I was one of those guys at Levi's, but no, I'm an actual working model.
Does
I
it still
guess.
exist? This modeling in the shops?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it
Still
does.
exists?
I don't think they would
In
stop.
Manhattan? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they would just stop it. But
Maybe they moved to Instagram.
There weren't models.
And then they moved to Instagram.
There were models in the shops in the Bronx.
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
Below the belt.
That would be tough. That would be pretty rough.
All right. So from getting asked whether you were a model or not, it actually became a career? Or?
Yeah. Well, it pivoted me to doing freelance modeling, but not like my career, right? So I did modeling. I did some runway stuff, mostly shoots. I got a shoot that I got into a magazine in Spain. It's called the Bernard Times. So I still have that magazine with the shoot in it. And I was like, yes, I was in a magazine. I was really happy about that at the time. And just to put a little context about the name situation.
Yeah.
Before I got printed in that magazine, I didn't hear from my family for about 5 or 6 years. And after I got printed, and someone told someone on Facebook,
He's in the magazine.
I get messages
He's famous.
from people that I haven't gotten messages from for 5, 6, 7 years. So this is the kind of stuff that
Okay.
will motivate you to change your last name. You know what I'm
Yeah. Don't want to be found.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did that in New York, some modeling, some TV, right?
Yeah.
And then
Any shows that we might have seen or heard?
I don't know if you guys saw it though. It's called the Bill Cunningham Show.
Bill Cunningham. Was it like?
So it's like
Late
a
night or-
Maury. No, it's a daytime
Oh, okay,
TV.
okay.
Daytime TV thing, like a Maury. Like Jerry Springer without the springing.
You are not the father.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
But you were not in the panel, so
No. So it's like I honestly, it's like how all the daytime TV shows work, where they actually you have authentic audience members, but then you have audiences
Planted.
that are planted,
Right.
and they're like, okay, we're gonna put all the pretty people over here. Now, look, I think I'm a very average looking dude, but okay, fine. You want to do this, and you're gonna pay me. It's okay. I don't mind. And so they will plant people, and then when the camera's panning and whatever, they'll try to only show like who they want to show is the audience,
with the-
this kind of stuff.
with the straight teeth.
Oh yeah, they're so pretty. And before that, I had my braces just taken out, so it was like perfect timing. Yeah,
New York is many say it's a great city, right? I mean, did you
Has great
enjoy? Did you
things.
enjoy New York like other places, not only your neighborhood? And
I would say I didn't really experience New York City
okay,
outside of my immediate surroundings or my environment until I was like 19 years old when I started working at Levi's because I had to
Right.
go to Times Square every day.
yeah,
And then from there, I met so many different people from all over the world, and they're like, "Hey, you know how to get to the Brooklyn Bridge, or
Right.
oh, where's Soho, or how I can get this or see this
How to
kind
get
of
to
stuff."
MoMA.
I may.
And
I may. have
the
been-
MoMA.
I may have been one of those people. I was
It's
there.
possible,
I lived there in
yeah.
2002.
Oh yeah,
For a year?
Yeah, I was there.
I could have been.
Right?
Yeah.
No, so after getting all of this from the tourists and whatnot, I'm like, what are these people talking about? Maybe I should go check this stuff out.
The naked
Maybe I should,
cowboy.
Let my
Yeah, the
city.
naked
Naked
cowboy.
cowboy,
We know him.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like if you're from Beijing, for
Yeah.
example, you've probably never been to the Great Wall. There's a very good chance you've never been to the Great Wall because you're
For
from
sure.
Beijing. You
Yeah.
can go anytime.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll get there eventually. So the same thing for me. I never went to the Statue of Liberty. I was just like,
Right.
why? I see her every day. Big deal.
Right.
And that's
yeah.
how that was.
Did you see? I mean, now you're in China, but do you remember seeing a lot of Chinese people there back then? Did you ever go to Chinatown
Well,
in
yeah.
New York?
In Chinatown, there's a lot of Chinese people. But outside
Did
of
you
Chinatown,
go
it's
to? Yeah.
not really that.
Hey, I want to ask you a question. Growing up in New York, what kind of experiences did you have with? Because we were talking about this the other day with another guest. Discrimination. How did you feel about that? Did you experience it? And
That's
how
a
did
hard
it affect
one.
you?
That's
Yeah.
a hard one. Yeah. This
Because
one's
New York,
tough. This one's tough.
no, because New York would have, if you compare with other places in the States, New York is probably a bit
Very
better.
cosmopolitan. There's
Yes,
so
you know,
many
people are
ethnicities,
more
so many
liberal.
culturals.
People are more worldly.
So we have a.
I'm not saying it's
right now. I think right now it's been removed. But we had this thing. It was called stop and frisk.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know if you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
are familiar.
Oh,
Right,
Mr. Bloomberg, yeah.
Yeah, the awesome Mr. Bloomberg.
So you got stopped.
Yes,
And
of
frisked.
course.
Right.
Of
What would they do?
course,
What
of
was
course.
it like?
So, it's very straightforward. The whole premise behind this policy was that if you can almost liberally stop anyone and check them for weapons and drugs and stuff like that, there's a very good chance you're gonna find something and you can get those people off the streets.
Yep.
But there's no guidelines to how to actually do that. And so what would happen is that, unfortunately, and because there aren't many other people, it was mostly based on race.
Yeah.
So predominantly, mostly blacks would get stopped, Latinos would get stopped, but they don't do this in white neighborhoods.
Right.
You're not going to go to the Polish town in Brooklyn and they're using stop and frisk on those guys.
Yeah.
You know. And so what happens is that it's not even so much about the policy itself, but the people who it's affecting. So let's say if you look at my situation, if I'm a kid, like I'm 11 or 12 years old, and I'm outside with my friends, we're hanging out at the park or, minding our own business, and the police just come up and say, wait, what are you guys doing? Okay, get up against the wall. You got anything?
11?
Yeah.
12?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like that.
See, that's what I said the other day. I didn't experience this thing. I was just saying the other day that now here with the situation, people walk away in the street and I'm like, I'm not used to it.
Yeah,
like a privileged, whatever, white guy,
And this is what the real life situation was for
That's
people
terrible.
like us in New York
terrible.
City.
Because in a sense, I mean, coming from Colombia, what they used to do is they used to employ underage people because if they were caught doing narcotics or selling narcotics or whatever, they would be released a lot sooner, a lot quicker. They'll be, you know what I mean? And they would attract less attention
how
from
many-
police, things like that. So it became part of a strategy.
How many 12-year-olds do bad stuff? I mean, it's the kids.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they
Poverty.
do. I don't know.
I'm not gonna say not even to devil's advocate or anything like that, but honestly, you don't necessarily know a person's age by looking at them.
I guess so.
immediately.
Sure.
But they know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on, you know what you're doing, and so imagine that's you, and you're an innocent kid, and you're with your friends, and you're just hanging out at the park, and they say, "Oh, you match someone's description." There's never you don't match anything.
When you look back at that, is there any what
Resentment.
didn't kill me made me stronger?
Well, no, it just makes me distrust them.
Okay.
And so when something like that happens to you at such a young age, you grow up, with this resentment and this spite for enforcement, for law
Right.
enforcement, for police. It's like you treated me like I was a criminal when I did absolutely nothing wrong, and I was just a kid
Yeah.
with my friends after school hanging out.
Right.
You know.
So it kept happening.
Yes, of course. This went on for years and years.
Okay.
And so it's like, what do you expect? The community is going to be like, oh, we love you guys. No.
Let me do a very quick 180 or I don't know, a big quick fast forward. What do you think of police in China? What's your experience with police in China?
Yeah. How is it
I
similar or
cannot
different?
believe it. It's just, I could not believe it.
It seems to
if
be
you
like,
can look at my old Facebook page,
Right.
because I lost the password to it, so I can't access it anymore. But if you can still see my timeline, you would see me talking about that when I first got to China.
I don't know if
Like
you
what?
remember, but you remember. It used to be only those golf carts. Remember?
Yeah.
It's like the
And the police on flip flops.
Yeah.
Now they do have
Yeah.
motorcycles. They look at least
Look a little more
One thing that I
serious.
never
They look more
understood. You went to Hong Kong, for example. Those guys look badass. You're like, I'm not messing with
They're
that guy.
serious.
Right.
You go to Thailand and they wearing. Have you been to Thailand? Have
Yeah.
you seen the police in Thailand?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
dude,
been
they
to
look
some.
like they wear very tight pants, like Chips. Remember Chips,
Right.
the TV show,
They can be serious.
California
there,
Highway
though.
Patrol.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
okay.
just the uniform and the way
Right.
they carry themselves here in China.
Right.
It does not inspire authority. It does not. It's
They're
just,
very lax.
No, it's better now.
but
It's very
it has
relaxed.
changed.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
the guys in the motorcycles and whatnot.
It took
a
me
little bit
years
better.
until I saw a regular police car
Mm.
here. Really, there was
Actually,
like
yeah,
a golf
probably me too.
cart or something.
Yeah,
Like,
the
looks
little
like
electric golf cart.
But
It's a-
I would say though, to their credit, is that you don't need to look intimidating. You don't need to. That's not the job of the police to look intimidating or scary or like a. Your job is to actually help the civilians, to help
Right.
the
Should be,
citizens in,
you mean.
you know,
Right.
in any given situation, not to escalate the situation as we usually have in the States, or at least in New York City. I can't speak for all of the US. And so when I came to China, and like, you know, that did concern me. I was like, oh man, this is going to be weird if the police stop me. I don't speak Chinese, and this is going to be an awkward situation. I'm probably going to get arrested like 8 times before the neighborhood realizes I live here, yada, yada, yada. Like, I was expecting these things. I had this like premeditated.
Because of where you came from.
Yeah, I was like, this is going to
Because of previous
happen. This is
experience.
inevitable. And I could never say I've had a bad experience with a police officer in China ever.
Yeah.
At all.
I've interacted with police in my 19, 20 years here about 3 or 4 times.
I think the bad experiences we may have, is when we need them to help us.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
that happened in the past, and you know, they weren't very helpful maybe sometimes. But
Well,
that exists in other places too.
I don't know if you guys were aware of my situation, but we had like a foreigner that passed away at the workplace.
Right, you wrote about
at a
it
training
before.
center.
Right.
I wrote about it,
Yes.
and I made a couple of videos about it, and I needed help. I mean, I didn't know
Right
where
to do,
things were
yeah.
coming, and I didn't know what to worry about. And well, so that became a little bit of an issue when you need to trust the police. You need that things are going to be looked at fairly,
Objectively.
objectively.
And it was not so smooth, I guess.
It was very smooth.
It was.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Oh,
It was
okay.
very, it was very comforting to know that they were looking at it just with a very unfiltered lens. They were
Right.
just like, let's
Like,
see
this
what
happened.
this is.
Face value.
Exactly.
And you gotta
So-
look into
Because
it.
I was very afraid of my
Yeah.
own
Right.
circumstance.
So even though, I mean, we're in a country like China, and some foreigners might be like afraid of the police, there is
There's
if you come to
literally
China, there is
nothing-
you shouldn't
nothing
worry
to be
about
afraid of.
the police, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
There used
I
to
would
be a
say,
time where we get away with timbudon,
Oh yeah, that's
but not
true.
any longer. They're learning English. So
Well,
that's
Learning
to-
English.
Well, sometimes you can still do that, I guess. You know, it depends on the situation. But yeah, there used to be a time that was enough.
Sorry, Jason, you were
Oh,
going to say?
I was gonna say, without getting into much detail because I can't, but there was a situation where I have a friend and another friend died in this person's house.
Uh-huh.
That was
think I
very
know the
unfortunate.
situation. Yeah, right,
you're familiar
right,
with it.
right.
Okay, it's a very unfortunate situation. Like, wow, it was really,
Yeah.
it was something else. It took me back. It was tough.
Right.
And I was there from the moment. Like, I was called up and it was like, hey, what do I do? This just happened. I was like, what is going on? You know, and I got there and the police were there and I was dealing with the situation because the person doesn't speak any Chinese. And at the time, my Chinese was terrible.
Yeah.
So of course, they called me up and I called up another friend. And the way that the police handled, from my perspective, at least when I said, was unbelievable. Like, they were super like chill about it. They're like, this is terrible and this happened. So what we're going to do is we need to go to the station. We're going to call the people to come check out the situation with the body. And we got to talk to the family members, and that's all there is to it.
But they're helpful. But also you have to remember that there are cultural differences and how the rules are maybe. But they are friendly and helpful. And yes, it's not like they're coming to get you.
I mean,
Right.
what I my particular experience is that they're not after
Right.
after making you guilty for anything. They just want to look at the situation and find the explanation and
It's
and
not
then
let's screw the
deal with it.
foreigner.
Yeah, you're not
It's
getting
that.
interrogated.
I don't
No.
feel
Yeah.
it was like
Right.
that at all. But having said that, and since this is something that we are making to kind of like help foreigners who want to come to China, who are already in China, if you come to live in a foreign place, if you're going to live an expat life, I invite you to always have an emergency contact sheet.
Yes.
At your workplace, with your neighbors, with some friends, because you never know what could happen. You could get run over by a car. You can slip in the shower. Anything could happen. And well, it's
Also,
something
in
quite
in
important.
a foreign country, you should you should be more careful and try not to get into trouble. That's
Sure.
my feeling always.
Avoid trouble.
Always. I will not start a
As much as
fight
possible.
here.
Do you know how I
Yes.
do that? Like, if this is not supposed to happen, I'm not supposed to be here. If it looks too unusual, if it looks like, why is this happening? Just back away.
Honestly, someone punch
That
me,
was,
I'm gonna walk
very-
away. Seriously.
was very
No. When you see people playing with monkeys or whatever, something that's the good old scam and tricks and whatever is something that's unusual. It's
But
not
let's
normal.
not
But in
be
17 years here,
backwards
almost
slowly.
nothing have happened like that I needed to walk away, honestly. You know, but I would, but it didn't happen.
Maybe it's my Colombian mentality and
Maybe. I mean, you know, yeah.
All right, cool. Hey, I want to move on to another topic, but before that, we're going to play our first game
right.
of this podcast, all right? So let's go in a very short break, and we'll be back in a second. All right, guys, so we're back, and we are going to play this or that with Komit, Jason,
Chen.
Chimera.
Chimera.
Yes.
All right. The idea is very simple. We're going to give you a couple of options, 2 or 3 options, and you need to tell us very quickly which one you choose. And if you want to elaborate a little bit as to why you chose one over the other, then you can do so. Yeah. 10 very simple choices. I'll do 5, and Ziv will do 5. So, Ziv, why don't you begin?
All right. Western food or Eastern food or Northern food or Southern food?
Oh, come on.
I can read your mind.
This is hard, dude.
Which one is that?
Well, it's so broad, but because, you know, my country's food is the best, and everybody knows that.
Tea.
So Western
When you refer
food,
to
I
your
guess?
country.
I mean Dominican Republic.
Okay.
Caribbean food.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
everybody knows it's the best. So,
So
you know.
that food. All right.
I guess it would be Western, but I really like
Chinese.
Asian Chinese food.
Yeah.
So in general, so it's
All right. So this is not going to get any easier.
okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Me Too or Too Much Me Too?
Oh, those are my only 2 choices.
Well, you can, you can
Okay.
go with anything.
I think happy medium would be better. Like me, kinda.
Which means
Sorry.
it's a little bit
me kinda.
too much Me Too.
A little bit too much, but I think it's still very necessary. And only because I did modeling before, and I've had, as a male, I've had very questionable experiences. And so I can only imagine what, you know, a female would have to deal with.
I think it's a great answer. I agree with exactly with what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next one. Thin crust or deep pan pizza pie? Which one is that?
Chicago
Maybe-
style thick one.
New York is thin, right?
Yeah, New York's pizza's amazing. So
It's
I
pretty
go
good. So
thin.
thin.
I
Thick
go
crust.
thin,
All right, okay.
Of course.
Okay, this one's going to be very easy. J-Lo or Shakira?
I think got the hardest question. Come on. look. I
We just
understand.
had the Super
Shakira,
Bowl.
where's
so-
Shakira from? She's not
Colombian.
She's Colombian.
She's Colombian?
Yeah.
Hey, so
like
we got to
roots
divide a
in
table
Lebanon
here.
or something
But
like that.
Jenny's
right?
from the
Yeah.
block.
Right, Jenny from the Bronx.
Jenny's
She's from the
from the
Bronx.
block.
Yes.
Yeah, but Shakira, hips don't lie.
I can't.
Choose.
Can I just have like
Choose.
half and half? Can I just get like half of J-Lo, half of Shakira, and just
Okay, which part of J-Lo would you pick?
Oh, no, don't go there.
they're both amazing. I can't.
All right,
I can't.
cool.
It's too much.
All right. Biden or Sanders?
300% Sanders.
Okay.
Yes.
If Sander doesn't make it, which it seems like he's not
Yeah,
gonna,
I understand.
Biden or Trump or just no vote or what?
And I'll be neutral on it because it's a replay of Sanders and Hillary
Yeah.
again. It's
You mean,
just
do you vote from here, by the way? Because you guys can vote. I cannot vote.
well,
my
not
country
anymore.
from- You don't?
No.
Even though you could, right? Okay,
Yeah, not
all right.
anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next question: Hong Kong or New York?
Like to live?
Yeah. Or
But you like,
For the sake of convenience, I say Hong Kong because I'm closer. But if just to choose in general, New York City, of course.
all right.
all right, fame or power?
That's tough. Well, here's the thing.
I'll give you an out. Fame, money, or power?
No, I won't put money. Here's the thing. Fame allots you a certain type of power. So I think I would probably go with fame.
And that's how you and I are very much alike.
I think I'd go with fame.
All right. We're gonna go with salsa, bachata, or merengue.
Bachata.
Forever.
Absolutely bachata. Yes.
I can't even say it.
Yes, you can. Come on.
Bachata.
It's from my country. I have to say
you see,
bachata.
I failed.
I don't have a choice. If I don't say bachata, the Dominican government will come here and get me. So
All right, wine, spirits, or beer?
I'm not really a beer guy.
Okay.
I'm also not really a wine guy. So I would go with spirits.
Okay.
Oh, we're coming to the end of the question.
Okay.
Earphones or headphones?
Headphones.
All the way?
All the way.
All right, guys, and that was this or that. You want to throw one at us?
Oh, wait, I get
We'll give
one?
you a chance. Before we
Yeah,
close the segment, we'll give you a
something
chance.
comes to mind.
I wish I knew before.
Oh,
before we
he
got to
prepared
this
like,
point.
all right, okay,
Oh,
Fernando, yeah.
I'm not ready. All right.
Don't have to.
Choose
All
one
right.
of the ones that we had, and we'll answer it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Shakira or J-Lo.
For me, Shakira. I mean, that's it. I mean, come on.
For
For the same reason you said bachata, yeah.
That was obvious.
J-Lo.
Why J-Lo? You're a more neutral party.
No, I mean, you should have said J-Lo too, Jenny from the Block. You said it. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah.
But Shakira.
All right, guys, and that was this or that. Let's go into the next section. Well, you just showed us, we just saw some videos of you dancing. So tell us about how did you go from working at EF into having your own dance studio? I mean, what led you to start your own business? Why dancing? Let's go from there.
It's a loaded question. Can you just give me some softballs?
Did you ever study dancing? Did you ever?
Yeah. I feel like Trump. He's throwing me all the hard balls.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. How do I answer these questions? Look, I do things bigly.
podcast.
Okay, I do it bigly, and
Usually.
I don't hold back. No. So let's see. How did I go from EF to dance? All right. Well, of course, for me and many folks in the Latin community, especially in the Caribbean, like dancing is a regular thing. That's a daily thing. Like we throw a party because it's Wednesday. They're like, oh, why are the Latinos playing loud music today? It's Wednesday, and it's Sunday morning. Why are the Latinos playing loud music today? They're cleaning. They're like, and then every night, same thing. The police complain.
So everybody dances.
It's just-
Everybody dances.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do. And so the thing is, when I went to Guangzhou for the first time, I forgot how I did it. I think I was asking around some friends in Dongguan, hey, where can I go to dance? Where can I go to dance? Because I was getting like this dance fever. It was like 11 months. I haven't danced. I haven't spoken Spanish. I was
Right.
going insane, I tell you. I got a gym membership so I can use their dance room by myself. Like it was really pathetic.
That was the beginning here. The beginning in when you got here.
Yeah.
When you didn't dance for like 11 months.
11
when you're like
months.
missing.
It's almost a year. Dude.
Yeah, okay.
It was crazy. And so I had a friend that was like, oh, yeah, they have dance parties in Guangzhou all the time. And I was like, all right, but what kind of dance parties? Because
What are you talking about?
there's a very loose definition of dancing here.
yeah.
You know, sometimes
Grandma
dancing here
dance,
is
square dance.
head banging. And
It's hard to find a place to dance
something.
anyway, right?
It is.
Yeah, not just Latin music, I guess.
Yeah, in general, that's true.
Right.
But yeah, eventually I made it to one of the parties in Guangzhou, several of the parties in Guangzhou. And I was like, not to take any credit away from them.
Okay.
Guangzhou dancers are amazing. The instructors are amazing. But I saw them dancing and I'm like, guys, come on now.
You can do that.
Come on now. Of course.
So that was 1 year in, and you were already starting to think about, I can.
Well, I didn't start thinking about doing a business or anything. No,
Okay.
I wasn't thinking about that at that time. But I was I was becoming more and more aware of the situation in terms of like the Latin dancing and whatnot.
The void in the market.
Yeah. And whenever I went to travel, like for EF, when we did like corporate trainings and things like this, I would go to Shanghai typically, and I would also go to the dance parties there. Amazing. Like it's full packed every time.
Is that where the best Latin or the biggest Latin community in China is?
I have no idea.
You don't know where
No,
is
I
there?
don't
Is there no one place?
Well, I would venture to guess that Guangzhou, because Guangzhou is basically where people come to do business and whatnot, and that brings a lot of people from Latin America. So
The climate is
I would
right.
guess, yeah.
Are there many Colombians there?
Yeah, quite a few. You can even get like Colombian products in Guangzhou.
Guangzhou would be more than other places? in China?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's basically how I really got into it. But the turning point for me that it was like, hey, we need to do Muzika was after 2.5 years, 3 years of going to the local bars and going to the local clubs and the local foreign bars.
Gets old very quick.
Very, very quick. Because
So-
they're all the same with a different name. That's really
So Muzika is now it's your place,
Yes.
it's your business, it's a bar, and it's a dance studio.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So how long you came to China, and how long until you started your own business with a dance studio? Yeah,
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Right.
So this is interesting for a lot of people who are interested in thinking about, hey, should I go to China to pursue a career? You come here, you learn the ropes, and yeah, it's not all that difficult to get started with your own business. And
It's really not.
yeah,
It's really
relatively
not.
easy.
And
Is
there's
it-
so many maybe I'm too much information, but there's so many willing participants, how you could say, like
Right.
investors and
people
potential
ready to
business
help you.
partners that are like, if they like what you have to bring to the table, they're like, hey, I can help you make this happen, even if you don't have the funds for it.
Do you think it's easier now, Fernando, than it used to be? Because I mean, at least for foreign-owned company,
Sure.
and we have different options to open companies with different kind of entities. You can do it with a Chinese name as a shareholder. You can do it on your own name. But back in the day, and you've been here as long as me, more than me, so it was more difficult to open a wholly foreign-owned.
It was extremely complicated. The investment level was
Was
super
2
high,
million
was
or
in the
more.
millions
Yes,
of dollars,
yes,
and
yes.
well, very few people
Right.
had the opportunity to do that. So most people went for one of two options. They would partner with a Chinese person,
Right.
or they would open a shelf company in Hong Kong, and then set up a representative office
Representative. I
here
remember that.
in
Yeah, that was-
I had
Dongguan.
one. I had one.
So yeah, when I needed to regain control of my own company when I was going through my divorce, that's the way that I went, and I purchased the business in China through the Hong Kong company.
But the representative office cannot make sales. in China.
No, they can't make sales,
Right.
but it's an umbrella company basically.
Right.
So it became a holding company.
But now it's different.
It's a lot easier.
It's easier to open a wholly foreign-owned company here,
Mhm.
right? But I mean, you started your business here, Muzika, how many years ago?
At this point, 4 years
4
ago.
years ago.
Yeah, next month.
And
4
it
years
started
ago.
as a dance studio. So
Yeah, dance studio.
What
makeshift
makes
bar.
the bar different from the other bars?
Everything. Absolutely everything. Well, oh man, okay. I'm gonna be nice. Okay, I'm gonna be nice about it because I don't want to point out too much. But I would say one of the things that stands out and makes us different is that the clientele that we cater to, right? The people, we're very picky about our client base, sort of thing. And for you to be part of like the Muzika family, you have to be a person who enjoys your free space, that you don't mind if a stranger sits at your table, and says, hey, how you doing? My name is so-and-so. Okay, cool. And everyone, you can come to Muzika, sit anywhere, talk to anyone, and everybody will welcome you. So that's the kind of environment that we've actually have there, and we have like-minded people in this sense. But more than that, the idea was that we don't have what we wanted to have here, and that's why we opened Muzika in the first place. Not for money, not for any sort of interest, but because we didn't have a place for people of color, people who are Latin descent, people who are black, people who love hip hop, people who like this kind of style to actually come together and like, just enjoy vibes.
Just like hip hop has been around for decades, but in a city like Dongguan, you would never find a place that would actually play hip hop. Or they would have the one-off song,
The one-off song.
and that was it,
Yeah.
and that's the end of it. So, would you say that was an important factor in you going that way? Like, just I want hip hop music to be the defining.
Yeah, definitely. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have done it. Tell you the truth.
you were your own market.
Yeah.
You went,
Yeah. It was for
That's
me. I was
always-
being selfish.
Right.
For me and my friends. I was like, we want a place where we can chill and they play music we like and they make the drinks how we like them. And yeah,
It was the
so
same. Yeah, it was. It happens a lot of
And that we
times
can
like this. I
dance.
think it's a great
So
way
let's
to
do
do
it.
it. I mean, if you are your own market, I think you know your clients.
Yeah.
And I like to say that it's not for everybody, right? You're not
Right,
trying
it's
to
not
get
for
everybody.
No way.
I don't think I spend a lot of time there, but yeah. I
Do you
get
have
it.
any
And that's
specials?
absolutely okay. We always have specials, but we do daily specials and it always changes. But it's very typical stuff. I would say.
What's your most successful drink? Would you say your bestseller?
You know what? That's a good question, but how about this? How about I don't tell you that, and I'll tell you our most successful product.
All right. Let me guess.
Guess.
Shisha.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah.
Shisha.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You guys call it shisha. I mean, I don't know. We call it nargila.
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 Yeah, I know that one.
I had my first one when I was 15, you know. Yeah, it's in Israel. But, I mean, it's not like it's a Jewish thing, right? I guess we got it from Middle East.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have it in Colombia? Do you?
Certain places, but it's not very popular.
Right.
Not very. I
It's
mean,
been-
but I haven't lived in my country for 25 years, so
Maybe now.
probably.
Right. But I mean, okay, so it's you've been an English teacher before when you came here. So you recommend people to come to China as an English teacher? To get into China as an English teacher? I mean, with certain maybe companies is better than others.
Well, you have to do sort of like a self-assessment on
Okay.
that, you know, like if you're a person, for example, like you're into IT and this is your field and you're very introverted and this is what your background is like, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're a person who's very outgoing and you like working with kids and this kind of stuff, definitely. I would say definitely, yeah.
Right.
Mm. Hey, I understand that you're also working with visas. You help people get visas. You help businesses, kind of like a headhunt kind of business.
Kind of.
What do you tell us a little bit about that? How did you get started with that? And what kind of services you offer,
Yeah.
and what's important for people who are watching or listening to know about this?
Yeah. Well, I'll do my best to condense it because it's loaded. It's really loaded. So the thing is, when I left EF, I wasn't expecting to leave EF. I just decided, you know what, I'm writing my resignation letter and I'm going to turn this in tomorrow. And that's how it was. Because I had a disagreement
Okay.
with the
Impulse?
investor.
With management.
Yeah, and I said, hey, listen, this is not a good time to mess with me. And I just recently opened my business at that time. It was just a few months. And I was getting the same vibes and rumors and whatever from other people. They're like, oh, you know, he's not very happy that you opened your own business and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I get it. He feels threatened. But that wasn't why I left, actually. We talked about it and it was cool afterwards. That wasn't why. And since that situation occurred, it was like, well, I can go home or find a new job or work for another company. I really, after investing like 3.5 years into this company, into EF, for example, I didn't feel like working for another company. I didn't feel like working for someone else and putting in my time and my hours and burning myself out for nothing and like trying to innovate and change everything. So I decided, you know what, I'll just work for my own company. I opened my own company. Let's do this. How do we get this visa? And then from then on, it was just a matter of figuring out the whole visa process. But since I already have this skill set from working at EF where I recruit people, I interview people abroad, I bring them over, I get them integrated to China, the Chinese culture, and everything that they're going to experience within the first few months living here. I already knew, you know what, I can use this and I can do my own recruit for other schools, other companies, and really give the people coming in someone they can trust, because that's very, very short supply. Because right now, most of the recruiters are not that kind of,
Right.
right.
We know
dependable.
those. Yes, a lot
Yeah.
of I keep hearing about those agents that are very shifty, but they don't know, right? I mean, when you're sitting back home in Idaho, whatever you are, and you're looking for an ESL job, I guess you don't know. It looks like it's legit and everything, and you don't know.
Yeah.
So how do you recruit people? How do you find people?
We'll use the usual channels.
Okay.
Social media.
Social media,
Always
of
use,
course,
always
right.
use social media to recruit.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's talk about this same person, imaginary person in Idaho thinking
Okay.
about moving to China to teach ESL. He doesn't know the difference between a Chinese agent and an agent like you.
Yeah.
How do you come in and make it different? How do you portray your services as being different?
Well, the first thing I have to do is evaluate the person and try to gauge immediately whether or not this person is viable. Do I think this person can survive here? That's number one. So based on their resume and what they say that they're looking for, I can say, can I accommodate you? Yes. And then immediately after that, we do a video call. Once you do the video call, it's game over. That's it. There's no Chinese recruiter that's going to compete with me
Yeah.
recruiting on a video call.
Really? They don't do it?
No, they don't.
They don't.
I was recruited by a Chinese recruiter.
Right.
And it was everything was strictly email and, all by the
Why is
fingers.
it? What do you think? Why they don't do it?
Well, it could just be a matter of the language barrier. Like there's most Chinese folks, they learn English and they learn English very well, but most of them will use it to do emails, to communicate in writing, not actually face-to-face interactions, because everything is academic and everything's for testing. So that's very easy to find a person that can read and write English, but to speak and actually interact naturally with a foreigner who's probably doesn't speak a second language, hasn't spoken to another person who doesn't speak English very well, might be very difficult.
Fernando, do you have a center? You had more than one center teaching English here in China. How do you recruit people?
Well, basically, I go by word of mouth. I've actually never brought anybody from outside. Basically, people who are working somewhere and they know that I pay well.
It's
that
too
I pay
risky to bring
better.
someone from outside. Relocate someone.
Well, yeah, because
Right.
it's a combination of things. Number one, they don't know you, you don't know them. So you have to go through a very, very expensive and lengthy process of proving who you are and what you are to people abroad who might not believe you even if you go through that extent. Yeah.
Right.
The other thing is that you don't know what you're getting.
Right.
You don't know what you're getting. So it's very difficult for you to go through all the process of hiring somebody, bringing him here, put him giving him the training, put him in the classroom, and it's not working. So after a month, you're like, huh.
Right.
So I prefer to work with people that are tested and tried. You know what I mean?
Right.
Safer.
In a sense, for example, they don't have this homesickness situation. They know, to a certain extent, they've been burned
Right.
by other employers.
Right.
So I come in like the knight in white armor. Ta-da-da! Here I am, the easiest money you've ever made, blah, blah, blah. And it makes it easier for me. So there's recognition because they probably heard of me here in the city, and I've also probably heard about them, or it's easier for me to tell them this is not going to work, and then they're not losing much. You know what I mean? And I'm
the
not
easiest
losing
money
much.
they ever made because you provide them the plan and everything. And some
Everything.
places
Well,
are like you're on your own.
Well, the
Yeah.
biggest
Something like
thing is and what makes my now we're interviewing me.
No, but I mean, we can compare it
cool.
with other
That's
places, you know.
The biggest thing is that you don't need to do lesson planning. Basically, there is a
Right.
method. I've developed a method
Right.
that is quite straightforward, and you can teach anything and
Right.
just apply it to the method and the steps and techniques.
Is it similar in other places? Like some other places, like EF?
EF is McDonald's. It's the McDonald's of teaching English.
So they have...
like
just
they-
follow-
it's follow this procedure step
Don't
by
need to
step.
prepare it yourself.
No, but you do.
You do.
You still
and
do.
lesson
Oh, you
planning.
Still do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for whatever
You need to make
reason.
the hamburger yourself.
Oh yeah, yeah.
okay.
You need
You
to
got the
still
ingredients
prepare
there,
your own
but-
lesson plan. There's no logic behind that necessarily.
There's no method.
But no,
There is
there's
a
a
method.
method.
There is a method.
There is a method. There's a timeline that you're supposed to follow, when to do what and how. But every single teacher still has to make their own lesson plan. Why? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me because all the lesson plans are provided through the online system already. But they're still required to write lesson plans. What's the reason for it? I don't know.
Well, basically, they're hiring him full time, so you gotta be there for 40 hours a week.
Yeah, that's basic. Yeah, that sounds like a good reason.
Basically, the 40 hours a week. Even though you're only teaching 20, 25 hours a week, you
Still need to
gotta
be
make
there.
up for the other 15 and we'll write lesson plans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Stare at
about
this
it.
monitor for the next 6 hours.
But yeah, okay. All right. I see.
All right. I wanted to ask you about your relationship with China versus the U.S. I've noticed a lot of your posts are quite strong.
Sometimes, yeah.
Very pro-China. Are you paid by the CCPP, the Chinese
Yeah, so
Communist Party?
I get a check every month from the Communist Party. They pay me.
So do I. We're all
Yeah.
Wu Maos.
Yes.
Yes, we get at least $3,000 a month, and we got to make sure we say nice things all the
Right.
time. But at the same token, I am also aware that all the other folks are getting checks from the American government because they got to take down China.
Right.
And
It's a bit ridiculous.
Say
this whole-
positive things about the
Yes.
U.S.
Is it
I
okay to love China? Why do you love China?
Why not?
No, of course. But I mean,
Why not? you
the
know?
people out there don't know why not.
Okay.
They would like to know what is it to like.
So I'll try to make it simple, I suppose, in my particular situation, is that this is has very little to do with the U.S. actually. Even though I had my experience and I lived in the U.S. for 20 something years, and it is what it is. The reason that I feel like the reason that I am the way that I am in regards to China is basically I spent 4 or 5 years dedicating myself to learning a language, learning a culture, and catering to people who didn't care about me. And that's really what it came down to. And what I'm talking about is Japan. And that's what I did. And unfortunately, that didn't work out. And I came to a country immediately after that, not speaking the language, not having any friends here, having absolutely no connection to it whatsoever, and having total strangers try to help me with every single step of my life in China.
This is really, really interesting. Let's talk more about this after the break.
Cool.
All right. And we are back with Komit, Jason, Chen,
Chimera.
Comment is okay.
Poland.
Just comment.
Comment.
Right.
Look, you were talking about checks written by the
Checks and
CCP.
by the CCP.
Yes.
What's your take on anti-China rhetoric out there? Does it feel that is granted? For example, most of the people say, "Oh, we don't have freedom. There's no freedom. You're not free." Do you feel not free here?
Boy, I have a story for that one.
Okay,
let us
this
know.
is what we're
I have
here.
a story for that one.
Yeah.
But look, before I tell you my story, I want to say, like, regardless of governments and whatever, politics is the most annoying thing ever. But I have legitimately fallen in love with Chinese people. Like, honestly. Like, sweetest, kindest people I've ever met. Or maybe it's not Chinese people. Maybe it's Dongguan people. Who knows?
Could be.
Because I've gone to other places in China and I'm like, it's okay, but I wouldn't live here. But Dongguan, I'm in love with it. Like, I don't want to go anywhere else. It's great. So regardless of government and opinions, it doesn't make a difference to me. So in terms of the freedoms, I'll just give you an example. This is not like, oh man, this is the golden standard. But in last April, 2019, I went to New York City with my wife. So we were going to City Hall to get married because we have to get married officially in the U.S. and all that stuff. Otherwise, it doesn't count because we only did it in China, etc. So,
Doesn't count in the US, you mean?
Yeah, it doesn't count in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Even though we got married in China, it's like I'm still single.
Really?
As far as the U.S. is concerned. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that either. Until I
I'm a
was
single
there.
comment. I'm a single.
Yeah, I thought we went to City Hall. I was like, oh, I already got married. This is our marriage license from China. Yada. And they're like, no, it doesn't matter. You have to get married again. I was like, what? That was interesting. So while we were over there, it's very funny because you got to think about like my wife saying these things in English and like here cute little accent or whatever. But yeah, we went to some of the bars in Brooklyn, a couple bars, not a lot, and just to like kind of check it out and whatever. It was more market research than anything.
Okay.
And so we go into one place. And she orders her drink, and I ordered my drink, whatever. We're drinking and talking. We're like, this place is kind of boring. People are just standing around talking. And I was like, yeah, we dance where I come from, so excuse me. So then she goes, oh, I want to go somewhere else. Okay, cool, let's go. And she proceeds to take her drink. It's the same kind of glass, like it's a cup. It's a plastic cup, actually. Like this
All
one.
right.
And you know what happened,
I see where it's
so
going.
she takes her drink. She goes for the door.
Outside, yeah.
And the bouncer goes, oh, you can't take your drinks outside. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, no, you can't take your drinks outside, obviously. And and I said, sweetie, no, you can't. She's like, I bought the drink. Why can't I take it outside? And I was like, no,
Like
no.
there is a law.
It's the rules. You cannot take your drink. You cannot take alcohol outside. She's like, this is America? This is free?
Because it's
This is bull. Please.
yeah. This is really American. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much,
That's
yeah.
what
That's what you see the paper
especially in New
bag
York
in
City.
all
Yeah.
the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this was like, this, like I said, it's not like the golden standard or anything.
But this is a great example because
I think it is, yeah.
I've experienced walking around with Americans and with a beer, and they mentioned that it's so great. I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
In
can drink
China.
outdoors. Yeah,
Yes,
we
you
can
can
drink
drink
outside in the
outdoors.
park.
No one will give you a fuss.
Someone can drink in the car in the passenger seat. I think in China.
Oh, here as
In
long
the
as-
passenger
Yeah,
seat.
if they
Not
if
the
they
driver,
text
of
you and the
course,
driver
you
didn't
know,
drink,
yeah.
it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing, which you know what, I agree with the situation, but she doesn't know better. There was a like we were outside in the morning time, and there was like a daycare downstairs, and so they would take all the kids out, and they're holding like this like weird long rope thing where all the kids would hold hands together. And Eva saw them and she's like, oh, they're so cute. And she takes out her phone to take a picture. Oh. And then immediately the what do we call them? Like the chaperones or whatever. It was like,
guardians.
no, you can't take pictures. What are you doing? What are you thinking?
They're
And I was
minors.
like, excuse me, I'm sorry, she's not from here. Yeah, I'll let her know. Okay, no problem. And she's like, what happened? Why you can't take pictures? And I was like, no, that's not allowed here. You can't take pictures of people without
Oh
permission.
God, this is
Especially
gold.
kids. And
Land of the free.
yeah, and so she referred to that again. They're like, wow, you guys have a lot of freedom. I was like, yeah, I know. And
Wow.
we go back to the same kind of situation. So yeah, man, the freedoms and whatnot that you're talking about, that I guess that's a perspective. As far as I'm concerned, the U.S. hasn't had freedom since the Patriot Act.
But
that's all there is.
let's make it harder on you.
Did you
Oh,
see the
man.
plane against the Pentagon?
No, let's make it harder on you. Like
Ouch.
you can say, fuck Trump or whatever in America.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of
President,
course.
you can say whatever you want.
Right.
But you can't really say it here on their you can say it, but
Yeah.
you may have issues, right?
Yeah,
In China.
of course. So,
So
like,
there's that side of
Right.
lack of freedom.
Right.
But in the day-to-day life, I mean, how many people are out there thinking, fuck, well, whoever is in charge?
I think it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. So I think what China is doing is they care for the people. They make the people's life better. So who cares about those politics? Because
There's very little to complain about.
yes,
There's very little to be opposed to. So,
Right.
yeah.
it
As far as
doesn't
I'm
happen that much.
concerned, is like you have the freedom to talk BS, but don't care about you. We're going to do whatever you want as far as the U.S. is concerned. But I actually do have something about this, what you just mentioned.
yeah,
Like you can say F Trump and
Yeah.
all these things, but you can't say that here. Well, actually, I did watch, I saw a video on my Facebook. Oh my God, the number one news source. But it was legitimate. It was this woman in her house. She actually, the Secret Service paid her a visit.
Because she
And-
said if...
Do you know why? Oh, okay. So on her Facebook, for whatever reason, in some video or something about Trump, she made the comment. She's like, "Oh man, somebody should just off this guy and get it over
Right.
with." That's literally what she wrote. Someone should off this guy and get it, or put one between his eyes, something like this. And then the Secret Service paid her a visit,
Right.
and they took the local sheriffs, and it became a whole big thing. So I'm like, wait a second.
was she a minority?
I don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
so. It looks like she was somewhere in the Midwest. And I'm like, if you do that in China, you probably have the same situation.
Yeah.
The same thing will happen. Like you will have a visit paid to you by the authorities, and they're going to investigate who you are. And the fact of the matter is, like, whether I agree or disagree with the actions the Secret Service took is not really relevant. But the fact of the matter is, if they have any reason to believe that this person may be a potential threat, then they need to look into it. I think that's the safe thing to do.
Right. So, but okay. So, what else make you love China? Love the people here. You fell in love. You said.
Man,
Why? Why else?
I mean, they saved me. Okay.
From?
How else can I? They saved me from my disappointment of Japan. I don't know what to say. Hey, look. To be fair though, I'm not saying Japan is terrible or anything like that. I'm not that hardcore. My experience is mostly because of Tokyo. That's how I see it. And if you think about Tokyo, like New York City, but 10 times colder, and not
People
by
being
not by
colder.
weather, not by climate.
okay.
You see
I
what I'm saying?
Right.
And this is what we're looking at, where you think you have friends and all these things, and they're like, yeah, no. No, you don't.
So
What gave you that
people are
impression?
So Chinese people are warmer.
Exceptionally
That's
warm.
what you feel
So
from
this is where I go back to the thing, is that I'm in love with the people, and the people are awesome, and I can't complain. Like, there's a few things here and there that we can complain about
Right.
because we have our cultural differences and our language
Yes,
barriers,
yes.
etc. But at the end of the day, I've been treated much better here than I've ever been treated in the U.S., than I've been treated in Japan or anywhere else.
In terms of business opportunities, do you think there's also a difference there? Is it easier to get into business here than it is in the U.S.?
In that situation, I would say it depends on where you live, because I can't speak for every place. But I say for us here in Dongguan, definitely, because I could never imagine in my wildest dreams opening a bar and dance studio in New York City.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Where do I get the money to do that?
When I go back and look at my own career and my achievements, I'm like, this would not have been possible in my home country. What I've achieved here is just a direct result of, the place where I'm in.
I agree 100% with you guys. I mean, being here, the right place, the right time. You need to be a person that takes on the opportunities, of course.
Yeah, sure.
And I think all of us did that, right? And still doing that. But you get more opportunities here. And I think that there are a lot of barriers in some other places, some of the places we came from.
Yeah, a lot of red tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of expenses, a lot
Yeah.
of well, not expensive. It's just much more expensive to do the same things that we do here for a fraction of the cost. I have a question. A lot of people who are anti-China and hear people like us talking, right? They'll say, "Oh, you're just protecting your own interest. You're just protecting your own companies, your own businesses. That's why you don't speak ill of China." Is that what you're doing?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you
Tell us,
something,
tell
bro.
us.
I'm all ears.
I'm still counting my check right now from the CCP, just so you know. If you guys are complaining about China and supporting other governments and you're not getting a check, you're doing it wrong. All right, listen. I'm going to give you an example. I'm not afraid of anybody, first of all, or any entity, to tell you the truth. There was one time, there was a situation, and so you guys know I have the bar right here. There was a situation on the other side of our street where a Korean guy, actually, he died in the bar. He was, I don't know what happened
That's
exactly.
not too long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't very
Yeah,
long ago,
yeah.
some months ago. It was maybe October, November last year.
Right.
Something like that. And so apparently the guy fell down the stairs at one of the host clubs and he died. That's all we really know.
Right.
And so what proceeded to happen was that the local police and the business bureaus decided to go to all the bars in the middle of the night. It was like 11:30, something like this. If I remember, it was after 11 for sure, on a Saturday night. And on that night, I remember specifically, I was hosting a theme party at Muzika, and we were full of people. Okay, so we're at the bar, hosting a party full of foreigners, some Chinese folks, whatever, and the police come and the local business bureau people come.
Turn on the lights.
Yeah, and that pissed me off.
What's that got to do with me?
So she comes over. It was a woman that was actually, I'm pretty sure she's like the director or something over there. So she's like personally going to all these places. And I've met her before when I go to the business bureau. And she says to me, "Oh, we want to inspect the venue." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" Like just the same way I just said it to you. "Excuse me?" And she says, "Yeah, we need to inspect the venue because there was a situation that happened, et cetera, et cetera." And I said, "Okay, you need to understand this. Number one, no, you're not going to inspect my venue. Okay, this is a government employee and a government official of the business bureau. If she wants to revoke my license tomorrow, she can.
Yeah.
It's that simple."
And you would not say this to some police officer in New York.
Hell. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to go there. So I said
Feel the taser.
immediately, no. I said, what you're doing is very disrespectful with the same tone and the same attitude. I'm telling you, this is very disrespectful. And you are not allowed to do this. If you're going to come here, the number one thing you need to do first is call me and tell me when you are coming. And I will make sure I provide the time to have you go through the venue, go through the building and inspect everything you have to inspect, safety measures, fire safety, etc. That is absolutely fine. But you do not do this, not when I have customers here, not when I'm hosting an event, and you're making everybody nervous and you're making everyone uncomfortable. So no, I will not allow you to inspect my venue."
How did that go?
They said sorry and walked away.
Huh.
That was about 2 years ago. Oh, sorry. That's wrong.
A few months ago.
That was about, what is that, 6 months maybe?
Yeah, I guess so.
Some 6 months ago.
Did they come back?
I still have my business license.
Uh-huh.
My bar is still open. Nobody came knocking at my door
But you
in the
felt
middle of the night.
comfortable to do that because, you know,
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
You
because
weren't like drunk or teasing
Yeah.
it or something.
I was well within my rights,
Yes,
and I
yeah.
understood already what the procedure is for them, what they need to do. They have rules that they also have to follow. They can't just do whatever they want. And we have rules that we have to follow too, so we can attain these licenses, and we have to follow those rules. I understand. But you don't come in the middle of the night while I'm hosting an event at my venue, say you have to do an inspection, which has nothing to do with what happened in another place. I don't owe that host club. It has nothing to do with me. We're not affiliated. So,
Right.
And so, yeah, with all that confidence, I was able to do that. And I have not had a problem.
Here's an interesting thing that I wanted to ask you. We, as English training centers or language training centers, are suspect to raids, literally raids.
Right.
You've
Yeah,
heard
that's
this
true.
about this situation where they go into a place and they get everyone's papers, documents, and they
because of
just
illegal teachers.
yes, illegal teaching. I have never been raided ever in the 15 years of my center. Never has the police come to my center, unless when we had the situation that we spoke of before, when somebody passed away. But other than that, I've never been raided.
But you're also unique in a way that 90% of English language centers are owned by Chinese, right?
Chinese, yes. But that would make it, I don't know, stand out, perhaps.
I would think so.
Right.
But I don't know if I would tell the police, hey, you can't come check in the middle of my lessons, or I'll show you the passports. You know what I mean? But now that I hear you, I'll probably stand my
Fernando,
ground and say
I bet that
it's never happened. But
I bet that you do things much more by the book,
Definitely.
than Chinese-owned centers,
In generally speaking, yeah, I think so.
probably, yeah.
right? Because I don't know, it's mentality, it's and maybe they know it.
Yeah, I always say that there's somebody out there who knows me, and it's kind of like he's by the book. Don't worry about
And
it.
probably you're the same.
Always.
I mean, yeah.
I don't play around with that. I don't want anyone to have a single anything on me. I want
Right.
to make sure I'm 100% secure legally. So if anyone wants to start a problem with me, I can take them on.
So that's a good advice for anyone that comes to China, start a business and everything. You know, I mean, the
As
right.
long as you do things according to the rules and the law, you're fine. Because a lot of the complaints of people, there's no rule of law.
Right.
And I
there
was
is
like,
a lot.
what does that mean
Right.
exactly?
Where are you living?
Yeah.
Where are
like,
you
look,
living?
for example, I organized a summer camp to Australia, and then there was, the other one was SARS.
Right.
So basically, we couldn't travel. Yeah. But I went to the travel agency and said, hey, I bought 50 tickets from you. I want my money back. We went to court. It took a couple of months. I got my money back.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, when people say there's no, I've been to court twice. And in both cases, I've won as a foreigner. And
there are cases and there are cases, but I think every country is like that. You know, I always say, this is not the best place in the world, and definitely not the worst place in the world. And you need to make it work for you, and there are a lot of opportunities here still for us. Today we had a meeting. I can tell you this story, and our trademark has been challenged a couple of times. Yeah, we got the here trademark.
Yeah.
I got it tattooed on me, but we have the trademark. I trademark here, all over China, here. So nobody can have the word here, trademark. And someone is has been challenging it for the last couple of years. And we keep needing to spend money on a lawyer just because someone is saying we haven't been using it for 3 years. We have used it all the time, of course. And today they came back, our lawyer, and said, bad news, the court in Beijing gave us bad results and said, no, you haven't done enough to prove that you've been using it the last 3 years. And, there was some talk about some bribery, some money. We need to go to the court in Beijing, spend a lot of money now, to do that. So, again, we are, I love being here. Of course, there are problems sometimes. I think it can happen in many countries, so you just need to do everything you can and to fight it, But I wanted to also ask, do you think with the situation now, 2020, in the beginning, we have situation here in China, now in all around the world, you think there are still opportunities in China? Like, should people still come here? Maybe after this, fades away a bit, but what do you think? You think there is opportunity for, this is maybe a heavy question.
It is.
Maybe we are in the middle now, we are not sure.
Look, I would say this. Just based on the information that is available to me, right, and based on the information that we can all access to the public, from the way that I've seen the situation been handled by the People's Republic,
right,
versus the way that my country, the U.S., has handled it. At the end of all this, or at least a month or two from now, I believe that China will be the best equipped to be able to continue and recover from the given situation, as opposed to other places, with the exception of, say, like Japan, Taiwan, Korea, or whatever.
I agree. I said a couple of weeks ago, I think this is like the last, stamp on the China is stronger than other places. You can see it now, in a way.
when you talk about that, one of the aspects that I used to support what you're saying is the leadership that is being displayed, not only inside the country, but also abroad. When you see, for example, the president of Serbia thanking China for the help, the Italian government thanking China for the help, everything that China has done in this particular situation has shown that they are ready to lead. They're ready to be the leaders of the world. Well,
It's not just what they have done; it's what other places, other countries haven't done.
sure.
I think it's maybe even more that, in a way.
Well,
you know?
The way that I feel is you're saying if a lot of people will be coming to China in the near future, I think
Right.
that a lot of people feel that this is one of the safest places to be right now. You see that on a lot of YouTubers. I made a comment today. I don't
Right.
agree with the people that run away, say we love China, we make money out of Chinese people. The minute that something goes wrong or something gets difficult, they run away from China. And now that things get bad abroad, then they come back to China. I mean, people are not idiots.
But
Yeah,
there are
they
less.
see
There are
through
less
that.
foreigners right now here. It's a little bit harder to get in.
So
here.
in that sense, I've
Yeah.
always said that. I mean, the fewer people are here, the more opportunities there
Someone
are.
Of
told me this
course.
the other day at
Of
the coffee
course.
with someone here, and he said, "Yeah, now if you are here,
Correct.
yeah, you can get a lot of
Correct.
more opportunities."
The amount of jobs in teaching are going to be enormous. And if there's no supply, what does that happen? Anybody here took Economics 101?
You know what's gonna happen.
Salaries go high.
right,
It's just
right,
that simple.
right?
The other thing is there going to be a change of heart towards English? Is English going to lose a little bit that relevance that it's enjoyed for the last 3 decades?
I don't think so.
I don't think so too.
No?
No, I don't think
I
so.
think Chinese people are smart, and they know the tools they need.
The thing is that as a language enthusiast myself, but in general, English has become like the international standard. And whereas that people from all over the world in any country abundantly speak and learn English since kindergarten, and it becomes an international standard. So to try to shift that, and like hypothetically, let's say China becomes the world superpower, because they have the highest GDP and whatever. Okay, cool. It's going to be very, very difficult to like say, okay, we're all going to learn Chinese now. That's not. It's
already happening in
very
some
impractical.
way.
We can.
In places.
Many people can, but what I want to say is the learning curve and the complexity
It's difficult.
of learning Mandarin Chinese is much higher than English.
Right.
And so that's the only thing that would slow that momentum. And the thing is, like, once something is like stationed as the standard, like English as being the first language internationally, the number one second language spoken by people who are non-native speakers, it's going to be very difficult.
But
to
it's
replace
already
that.
very lucrative, I think, in the world now to learn Chinese.
Yeah.
It's very lucrative, you know. I
If you
think,
can communicate with Chinese people in their
wow,
own language, it also raises your status in the
Yeah,
eyes of
exactly.
the Chinese person.
For
But
sure.
I wanted to say
sure.
something very interesting. You speak Spanish.
Yeah.
I speak Spanish. We never speak Spanish to each other.
yeah.
Why is that? I mean, you give your answer, then I'll give you my answer.
I think the reason for that is partly the context in how we met and how we communicated with each other was already from the beginning. It's in English, but it's also the matter that I know and I feel that if I speak to you in English, there is absolutely no language barrier. There's no communication issue. So I never feel like nothing clicks in my brain that says, "Hey, you should speak Spanish." But with some other friends,
This
I
is
have-
not getting through. This idea is
Yeah. No, we can express our ideas to each other very clearly.
Better
English.
in English than in Spanish?
Yeah.
No. I mean,
Well,
the thing
not-
is
not
that
better, but-
when the English level of the person that you're speaking to is not that high, you always have that doubt. Should I say, for example, if I'm talking to somebody who's Chinese, should I say this in Chinese?
Right.
That the same happens to you and me. I mean, should I say this in Spanish? There's no need
Right.
because of our particular levels of English.
I see.
About my particular level of English, you grew up there.
English your first language or Spanish? Spanish is your first language?
There's a difference between first language and mother language.
Yes.
So
it's your
his
mother
mother
language.
Yes.
It is my mother language, and technically,
You can have two mother languages,
Yeah.
two
Yeah,
first
basically,
languages.
The term mother language comes from, well, how people
Right.
were raised. Yeah, moms used to take care of home, so you speak your mother's language. But theoretically, is the languages that they speak at home. For example, you, what do you speak? What do you speak at home with your kid? For example, do you speak Hebrew?
English.
Never.
With my kids?
Yeah,
English. 'Cause-
never.
No.
Wow.
Are you denying like part of the culture that way?
No, I don't. I don't.
Is this on purpose? I suppose.
I'm just lazy.
But you have to
No, my wife doesn't speak Hebrew. So we speak English at home. So I just spoke English. And then after a while, it's like, look, it's a big mistake. I admit it. You know, it's a problem. But I haven't done it on time, you know. So, you know, that's the thing. What in Colombia, what age you start learning English at school?
It really depends, and it really has changed.
When you were a kid?
When I was a kid, I didn't go to. I went to an international school, but it was a French school.
From first grade?
From kindergarten.
Oh,
basically.
okay,
Well, no,
okay.
well, yeah, first grade.
So you did?
So at this French school, I started learning English from middle school.
From middle school, but you studied French first?
Yes, every single subject at school was in French.
All right.
But other people that go to international schools, they go, for example, to Deutsche
Right,
Schule, like the German school, or they go to the Italian school. Then the same, they start learning English a little bit late, like in middle school.
What about public school?
But public schools, they start really, really late. Usually, when I was
When you
in
were,
school,
yeah.
it was just high school, the last 3 years of high
Really?
school. Yeah.
Wow.
So the
And
English
now?
level of Colombian people is very low. Now I'm sure
really
it's
early.
gone a lot lower. Probably from I'm almost sure from primary school.
I
Yeah, at
started-
public school. Sorry.
I started, went to public school. I started studying English 4th grade. We started 4th grade. We started studying Bible 2nd grade.
Oh boy.
How about Spanish in the U.S.? Because, I mean,
When I started going to school in the U.S., I was actually in ESL classes. So all of my classes were actually in Spanish.
Right.
And then after about second grade and then going into third grade, then they changed me over to full English classes because they already felt, okay, he speaks enough English to just go to regular
This is the kind of
classes.
process
And
that I
having-
was doing in California, just teaching Mexican kids to speak English.
having said all this, Chinese people started learning English
Kindergarten.
in like really, really,
Diapers.
really early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're eager to know, you know? It's different.
A lot of parents, when they come to me, they say like, how can I help my kid learn English? How can I do this a little bit faster?
Right.
And to me, my professional point of view is exposure. The more exposure you have to language,
Yes.
the faster you learn as a kid. And it's a combination of another factor. The more interested you are in something, the more eager to learn you will be. So if you find what your children are interested in, say they're interested in comics, well, expose the kid to comics in English.
Yeah,
Right,
it is.
right.
So there's the interest,
Right.
and you're forcing the exposure to
Right.
the language based on that interest. Your kid likes Lego, okay? Having watched Lego videos in English, because you're using the interest that the kid has to expose them to English.
I know some
That's-
parents like that, Chinese parents, and it works.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
basically what I think is
Yeah.
the number one factor in determining how fast you can learn.
Right. So we need to get our CCP checks soon. We're gonna
Yeah,
wrap.
yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
wrap this up.
All right, guys.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, Jason, Komit, Chen, Polek. What?
I'm just comment.
All right.
It's okay. Just
Thank you very much, Komit, for joining us. I hope that you guys enjoyed listening and watching this video. And as always, remember, if you liked our content, make sure to subscribe to our channel. And when you do that, don't forget to hit the bell button to be notified whenever we have a new video out. Remember to follow us on all the social media that you see down here. And well, until we see you again, I'm Fernando.
I'm Ziv,
And this is, of course,
China.
see you
Thanks,
later.
Jason. See ya.